this exercise is a big favorite of mine, and it really tells me a lot about the client's ability to control shoulder girdle movement, to recruit the muscles of the shoulder that really help safeguard the different parts of the shoulder, rotator cuff primarily. It also is a great exercise for working through spinal segmentation, and there is also definitely a core control aspect to the exercise. So many things going on here. So anyway, like to put clients through this one, and it gives me a great idea about what areas we really need to focus on. But it's definitely not something I would do as a beginner level exercise. You can get a sense of how much loading the shoulder takes even in a kneeling position. So anyhow, just going to go through the steps with you. So just nice and tall on the knees, and just starting by using the weight of the arms to lower the bar. The base of the skull starts to lift, and then going down. So this is where segmentation begins, and the base of the skull is lifting the entire time. As I move forward, I stay high on my knees, and I want to think about kind of aiming the top of my head downward right in front of my knees. So I stay in a very deep curve, again lifting the base of the skull. If I continue moving forward, I start to feel that the shoulders are beginning to take quite a weight load, and that's in the posterior part of the shoulder, where we can get definitely rotator cuff issues. So what I have a client do to safeguard the shoulder is sit back. So that takes the weight load right out of the shoulder. If we want to challenge things more though, we move towards the frame, and the shoulder again receives more and more weight load as it goes into its eccentric phase. So basically we're putting load on stretch. And this is, I call it a 2-point position, and then we have some elevation in the scapula. The sit bones are reaching back quite a bit. Okay, coming up now, pulling the abdominals in nice and tight. So I go from an anterior tilt to kind of a posterior, but I don't like to tuck the pelvis. I like to cue more segment from bottom to top. So we pull the abdominals in and stacking vertebrae one by one, pulling the abdominals in, and the hips start to move forward again over the knees. So I'm kind of in that same position that I was on the way down, where the top of my head is kind of like I'm aiming for the top of the mat with the top of my head. Once I come all the way up, standing on my knees, the bar rises. Okay, now this is the other kind of shoulder load part of the exercise. So it's like a modified plank. And I want to start first by just moving the bar a little bit. And I want to be careful here, because when I'm working on this exercise with clients in the beginning, the first thing they do is they push the bar and they start to move their shoulders. And what happens is you end up in a modified plank that's very unstable. So we have to stabilize mid-torso first. So I'll usually poke them pretty hard in their ribs, and I allow them to just kind of move the bar up, and I'll block the ribs and have them just move their hips forward, and they can really feel how much work that is in a good way. And you can kind of feel how much weight load the shoulders can take. And as I get a little further here, I want to allow scapular movement. And it's a great stretch, but it's under a lot of control. Okay, and then to finish, lifting the sternum, I come back up to standing tall. So Cadillac, kneeling forward, push through,